There's a lie that's circulating around Washington that is dominating the debate over health care reform. It threatens to get into the national bloodstream and become a permanent fact, even though it's in no way a fact. The charge that 20 million people would lose their insurance if Obamacare is repealed, that was put out by the Congressional Budget Office. Well, that's just not true. First of all, a Heritage Foundation study found that only 14 million people have been covered under the Obamacare bill, and that only 3 million of that 14 million were covered by insurance in the Obamacare bill. 11 million were covered by the expansion of Medicaid, a straight-out welfare program, not having nothing to do with the exchanges or with Obamacare. And were Obamacare repealed, many of those 3 million, most of those 3 million, could easily find coverage under the replacement law because the subsidies would be high enough and they wouldn't have to buy a soup-to-nuts insurance policy. In fact, the human cost of repealing Obamacare is relatively low. Now, the Medicaid portion of it. You have about 11 million people who've gotten covered by Medicaid because of the expansion of Obamacare. Now, first of all, 3/4 of those people were eligible before Obamacare was passed and are still eligible and will be eligible after it's repealed, if it is. It was simply that because of all the hoopla about being insured stirred up sentiment. They got caught up in the dragnet and signed up for a program they were always eligible for anyway. And the danger of lopping people off of Medicaid and denying them coverage is one that can be avoided very simply by imposing minimum requirements on the Medicaid population. For example, a $10 copayment before you get medical care, which obviously, particularly with Medicaid coverage now going way up to $30,000 or $40,000 a year in income, people can afford. Or work requirements could have a huge effect on that. In Alabama recently, 17 counties imposed a work requirement before you could get food stamps, and food stamp enrollment dropped by 80%. Sensible utilization controls can be applied to Medicaid and weed out the waste and remain covering the people that really need it. It's not that hard. So forget this whole 20 million people garbage. This is just not true. And let's understand that repealing Obamacare would affect relatively few people and would have relatively minor effect on their lives. Thanks for watching.